We start working on the first passage of section 2 now. Just as in section 1 of IELTS Reading General, in section 2 also we avoid reading the passage because the text in the passage is comparatively less. What we try to do is look for the answers after identifying the keywords in the question. So the first step is just reading the heading, in this case border crossing for commercial vehicles. Since there are no other headings in the passage, we'll straight away go to the questions. Since the question type is fill in the blanks or complete the information, one thing that we know is that the answers are usually in sequence. And since it's a flow chart, the reason for that is even more so. The second thing that we do is read the instructions carefully. In this case, the instructions say that our answer should be no more than 2 words. So the answer can be either a 1-word answer or a 2-word answer. Another thing that we know is that whatever information is there between any questions, that information will also be there in the passage. For example, in the passage, this will come before this information. Similarly, between 18th and 19th, this will be mentioned. Now we read the first question and start looking for the answer. The first is before setting off, to speed up the border crossing, use PAPS. Now this is one of the tips that we have when looking for keywords. Whenever there is an abbreviation, whenever there is any word which has the first letter in uppercase, that is, it is a proper noun, we know that that word or that phrase will be mentioned in the passage as it is, because there cannot be a synonym for that. In this case, PAPS, and it is right here. So I know that my answer would be either just before this or after this. It cannot be in the first paragraph. So we have saved time because in all probability we won't need to read this at all. To speed up the border crossing, use PAPS. For this, send your dash, details and current vehicle inspection documents. Now we come here. The best way to clear customs at primary inspection is to make sure customs get information about your shipment before you set off using PAPS. When using this, you need to provide information about your shipment, and you also need to send proof of a current annual inspection of your vehicle. So this is the current vehicle inspection documents, and here it is, send proof of current annual inspection. So this information I have found. I'm expecting this answer to be between PAPS and this information now. I'll go back again. We have to send 2 things. One is the inspection documents. What's the other one? I'll read this again. When using this, you need to provide information about your shipment. So information is details. The answer here is shipment. And this is where I got my answer from. Now we start with the next one, 16th. Before arriving at the border. And we know the answer is here because it's mentioned right here before you arrive at the border. Check that documents such as something and birth certificate and passport are ready for inspection. Such as tells me that it is example. So I'll be on a lookout for some kind of a synonym to this. And obviously I'll also be on a lookout for birth certificate, passports. Make sure you have all your paperwork. So paperwork would be documents, up to date and ready to present at the inspection. You'll need your photo ID in addition to your birth certificate or passport. The answer is photo ID right here. On to the 17th one now. Make sure the dash are on inside the vehicle. Something needs to be on, and that is inside the vehicle. So this is where we had found our 16th answer. We'll start looking after this. Drivers must also turn on, this is on, interior is inside, cab lights. This is my 17th answer. Now, had the instructions been 1 word only, then the answer would have been lights. But now, because in this case, it says no more than 2 words, which means either 1 word or 2 word answers are allowed. I could either write lights here, or I could write cab lights. Either of the 2 would be correct answer. The 18th one now. Check that the dash in the vehicle can be easily seen. Something needs to be clearly visible in the vehicle. This is where we had found the 17th answer. I'll continue with this one only. The reason is that I'm expecting this to start from here. So chances of this answer being within this paragraph are more. Drivers must also turn on interior cab lights and open all interior drapes or blinders to sleeper areas for easy inspection. Check that the dash in the vehicle can be easily seen. Easy inspection of sleeper areas. The answer is sleeper areas. We'll start with the next one now. This one is at the border primary inspection. Because P and I are in caps, I'm expecting primary inspection as it is in the passage wherever it is mentioned. It's mentioned here, by the way, in a paragraph we've already read through. This may be the only stop if paperwork is in order. Non-US or Canadian citizens must have a visa. I'm expecting US Canadian citizens to be mentioned either as it is or maybe citizens of Canada if not Canadian citizens. They must have a visa and go to the dash area to complete, and again this is expected to be as it is because it is name of something. So first thing I need to figure out is where do non-US and Canadian citizens need to go. If you are not, I'm expecting the answer after this. If you're not a Canadian citizen, a visa is obligatory. So you must have a visa, must is obligatory, and go to the dash area. So you'll also be required to complete this card. Now this card is mentioned later. Where do we need to go to complete this card? Since it is not here, it should be in the next sentence. These cards are available only at border crossings into the United States. So it could be border crossings area, although it sounds a little wrong. So I'll read the rest of it. Drivers who clear customs at the primary inspection will be instructed to report to immigration to fill out the form. Fill out the form is complete the form, and therefore you need to go to the immigration area. This is where the answer is. So the clarification I'm getting is fill out the form, complete the form. These are the kind of words that help us understand where the answer is. The answer here, the 19th one, is immigration. There is a small dash for this. Now, something to do with a small something for completing the I-94 card. So we go here, fill out the card, receive verbal clearance from US official. The charge for the I-94 card is $6. Although the word small or any synonym is not mentioned, a small amount is mentioned. So the answer to the 20th one is charge. And we are done with this part. This obviously is from this paragraph, something we don't need to read. So what we see here is that the first and last paragraph we have avoided completely.